Hello again, Mr. Hein here, talking about calculating slope without graphing. So in yesterday's video, you saw how to get the slope from a graph. And remember that slope is just another word for like the growth rate, or it's another word to talk about like how steep something is. And I like the one rate of change. It's how is it changing? That's what slope means. And the new one from yesterday was the change in y over change in x, right? So these are all saying the same thing. Saying the same thing. Just we interchange them a lot, with slope being the most popular, rate of change being the most popular. But today, there's no graph. So, for example, if there were a graph, and we're going to get to how to do it without a graph, but it's important you understand where this comes from. Say I make a graph, I'll start here at 1. And let's say it looks something like this. And I asked you, what's the slope here? Well, you'd say, oh, okay, well, how steep is this line? Well, to get from here to here, it's going up to right 1. So then you'd say it's the change in y over the change in x is it's going up to right 1, or 2 over 1. But what if this graph wasn't here? Like, this is the point 0, 1, and this is the point 1, right 1 up 3. So that's point 1, 3. What if the graph wasn't there? What if it just gave you those 2 points? How would you still get 2 over 1? Right? And the way you do that is still using that definition, change in y over change x. And what I like to do is I like to put these points in a table. So we're going to go x, y. We're going to put the points in a table. So say we'll put that point first. We'll say 1, 3. Oh no, we'll go the other way. We'll use the smaller points first. It doesn't matter, honestly. Order doesn't matter. I'm just going to do this to have a nicer answer in the end, but you get the same answer either way. So 0, 1, that's the first point, because remember, this is a point x, comma, y. And you have 1, 3, because that's a point x, comma, y. So I put that in. Now remember, we want how is it changing, which is the change in y over change x. So if we ask ourselves, how do we get from 1 to 3? What we're really asking ourselves is, what's the change in y? How is it getting from 1 to 3? And that is plus 2. So we know that the change in y is plus 2, and the change in x is plus 1. And just like that, there's your slope. The slope is 2 over 1. Now let's look through a few more examples to help you see it. So example 2, and we'll say A, what's the slope between the point 1, 5 and 10, 15? And we'll look at a second example of the point 3, comma 7 and the point 5, comma negative 2. A little bit more challenging. So again, the question is what's the slope here? So to get slope, we do the change in y over the change in x. So I'm going to put this in a table to organize this. The first one, 1, 5. Second one, 10, 15. Okay. What's the change in y? How do we get from 5 to 15? You add 10. So that's 10 plus 10. What's the change in x from 1 to 10? Well, that's plus 9. And there's your answer. The slope of this, the slope or the steepness between these 2 points is 10 over 9, right? You had to go up 10, and it took you 9 to get there. Usually the x is like time, so it went up 10 tiles over 9 figures, or you traveled 10 miles in 9 hours, right? 10 over 9, and that's the slope for A. And for B, again, what's the slope? So that's asking what's the change in y over the change in x. What's the slope? If we put this in a table, 3, 7, 5, -2, and we go about the same way. How do we get from 7 to -2? Now be careful. To get from 7 to 0, you'd -7, and you're going more negative, so you actually are minusing 9 here. Now, if you don't know how to do this, say like you can't do it on your head, so you can, side note, if you can't do it in your head, can't do the math in your head, you could just do -2, take away 7. So you could do the bottom one minus the top. I'll tell you how you got from the first to the second. And when subtracting these, -2 minus 7, you're going more negative, so it's like you're adding a negative, and that's how you get the -9. How do you get from 3 to 5? So again, I think you can say that that's +2, but say you didn't know it, you would do 5 minus 3, and that's how you get the 2, 2. And that's where that comes to be. And there you have it. We have our change y and change x. So the slope here is going to be -9 over 2. You don't really need to put a +2. Which again means that it's, to help you see this, that means that it's going down 9, right 2, or every 2 seconds, for example. You could say it's going down 9 feet. I mean, I'm just trying to make sense of this for you, because it represents how something is changing. Right? So it's changing down 9 every 2, down change by 10 every 9. But that's how you get the slope without a graph. Right? Good luck on their problems. Refer to this video a lot. Stop and pause it. Maybe try these on your own and see if you can get the same answers I got. All right. Good luck.